Hello! Today I will be discussing the business economics section of this presentation, paper, and PowerPoint. And I would like to say I apologize ahead of time if you cannot see my face. I've tried to rig my camera as best as possible, and I've not been able to reach it to where I can fully capture my face even standing far away. It's hard. I apologize. Moving on. We're discussing worker pay raise could lead to inflation. That sounds strange, right? But, and that's kind of worded in a weird way because it's more so worker pay raise could be a premonition to inflation, is what they're trying to discuss. But let's get right into it. Introduction. Pay raise has been a thing that has been happening recently, especially around 2023 and 2024, and it's been trying to keep up with the rising prices of everything else in the American economy. And that's how it's been going for a while now, and companies have been keeping up, or been trying to keep up with it by doing just that for their employees and everyone else working under their roof. First off, let's go way back for a real quick second and discuss economics in general. Economics have always been going up and down since the dawn of economics has existed, not even in America, before that. And I think that economics itself is just always a toss of the coin, ironically. Sometimes it'll be up, sometimes it'll be down. It depends on the situation at the time, depends on what's going on at the time. Like, for example, the Great Depression. There was a whole boom in the 2000s, and suddenly it sunk all the way down. All the way down. The recession was another huge major issue, and it was circling the housing environment at that time and the housing market at that time, which is a little ironic considering housing market today is also a little bit of an issue. But anyway, ignoring that, let's get on to the real issue, and that is the whole inflation thing in general and worker pay. So raising worker pay sounds like a great idea, but in practice, it isn't really changing much, especially when the economy is also raising its prices. The companies are basically raising pay in order to make it so that that's kind of the new wage, the new norm wage, I guess. So raising is like, wow, that's a great idea. However, in turn, it ends up just being about as much as you would have made a year ago with a lower market that costs where everything costs just a little bit less. So they're kind of hiding it behind that currently. And in regards to that, as you can see by this silly little picture, the main issue has always been gas and groceries. And gas, especially the past 4 years, have been very fluctuating, very high at some points, almost normal at other points, but definitely high. And groceries as well has also seen a peak recently. And for workers, that is a hard thing to deal with. And even raising pay will sometimes not help enough. But what can you do when you're working under a company? Sometimes all you can do is hope. And companies are at least providing that hope in some way, shape, or form. And how this can spiral is, like I said, everything's going to keep raising in price, and wages will keep going up to catch up those prices, and it's just going to keep costing more and more, and you'll keep making more and more, and the dollar will just start becoming less and less valuable because everyone's going to have so many of these dollars, and everything's going to cost so expensive that it won't matter. So that's how it can end up spiraling in an endless tunnel, right straight down or straight up, depending on what you're thinking in regards to how much money there is, but down in how much value it has. How to fix it? Businesses are trying their best, as I stated. They are trying to raise wages, but that's not quite working because that also means things raise in price as well because of the raise in wages, and it's also a spiral. So businesses are trying their best. It's not working phenomenally. The federal government has yet to really make any sort of regards towards this. It's not been a major thing on their plate currently. They have no current plan on fixing it, and people can't really do much either. They're just kind of part of the plan, the big overarching government and economy. And though them buying products fuels companies and their brands, you can't make much of a difference if it's just you or even a big group of you. There's still millions and millions upon Americans that have to kind of group together and face this crisis, but that is just simply not possible. Plans that would fix it would be the federal government lowering the prices of things manually, but keeping wages up for a while. So people are making more money, but things cost less, and that will kind of ease the dollar back into a position in which it's valuable again, instead of being used to buy everything. And then eventually they can ease down the wages as well. I think starting with the products first instead of the wages is probably best, because the lowering wages can cause major issues for people and households, while keeping the food up would just cause a disaster. So I think starting with the products first is a good idea, and then doing wages later is probably best. And in regards to other solutions, well, there's not very many. That's the main solution that was thought up of for now. We'll see what the government does, what the Fed does. We'll see what they decide in the future. But for now, that is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much.